So yeah, let's just hop into the characters then. We're again, it's not the draft that we did with Smash Bros. So we're not necessarily going towards like we're each gonna pick 10 characters and then those whichever has that like. We're just going to kind of make a flowing list of all the characters that we think should or could be in the game. Specifically, you just mentioned Dante. Now, the thing is, in All-Stars Battle Royale, the first one, it was Dante from the reboot that was just called DMC, Devil May Cry. And it was like the kind of rebranded Dante that a lot of the fans didn't like. But now that the series has returned to the original... with Devil May Cry 5, right?
Yeah, Devil May Cry 5.
Like, I think there's a good chance that Dante would be in the sequel, but it would be the classic Dante that everyone originally liked.
Yeah, and I think they would keep the OG skin for like just as an alternate skin because I personally loved DMC. Like, I'm a heretic for this, and that's fine. But like DMC was my first Devil May Cry game, and I loved it. Like I think
fantastic. It overall got pretty good reviews, if I remember correctly, at least in terms of like gameplay and whatnot.
In terms of the game itself, without the name Devil May Cry, it was fantastic, and it just did. There were a few things that, like in the beginning of the game, there's a point where he's like flying around the room, and at one point, like a white wig is on him, like classic Dante, and he's just like as if, and then like throws it away.
Yeah, which is kind of insulting.
Yeah, that's like a. That was kind of gross, but like everything else about that game was fucking awesome.
Yeah, and I think Dante's still one of those characters that is in no way exclusively a Sony character, at least anymore. But I still think in a lot of ways represents that a certain era of Sony that I think we'd want to see in the game. So we're not going on any kind of strict like only Sony owned or Sony exclusive franchises here.
And I want to kind of test the boundaries a little bit because So like I kind of want to just jump into the random crazy picks because I kind of want to have I want a Destiny Guardian and a Monster Hunter in this game because there are Sony exclusive like they're either timed exclusives or content exclusives, but like from Destiny's conception, it's been like a PlayStation like it was on PlayStation first and then kind of rolled out to everything else slowly, if my memory serves. And like same with Monster Hunter World. I want like the random character created characters like avatar players.
I think that's one of the cooler things Smash Bros started doing between like Villager and Robin and Corrin, like having these characters that or even the Pokemon trainer, honestly, like not just doing like the icons, but also like
the blank slates.
In many games, it's the character you actually play. You know, when the first PlayStation All Stars was coming out, there was a lot of people talking about whether the Dovahkiin from Skyrim would be in. And I think that'd be really that would be really interesting. At this point, though, I would expect if anything, it would be maybe a more general Elder Scrolls character based more on ESO or on Elder Scrolls 6, honestly. So.
Elder Scrolls 6. Yeah.
Okay, but.
I'm just putting it into the show doc.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going off of a list I had come up with when we first were talking about this. You mentioned the Monster Hunter. The only name I have for this character that I've looked up is just Hunter, but the main character from Bloodborne.
Yes.
Because it seems like to me like there would be some sort of representative of the Souls-like series, and with Bloodborne being the PlayStation exclusive one.
Woo! Sekiro now. Or was Sekiro?
Is Sekiro? I don't think Sekiro was exclusive.
You're totally right. Sekiro was on Xbox and PC.
I think it would make sense to pull Bloodborne, or honestly, it could be Sekiro because again, like I think they are going to pull just kind of general gaming icons that are on PlayStation, which also I would like to throw out there an Overwatch character because there's a lot of speculation that Smash Bros will do it. I think it fits a lot more with Sony because it seems to me, I mean, I'm biased because I do play Overwatch on console, that on PS4, that the default kind of go-to console, like the if you're not playing on PC, you're probably playing on PS4 when it comes to Overwatch. And I think that's true for a lot of competitive games. Like I'm sure we'll get into some actual fighting game characters, but the fact that like this seems like the PS4, unless you're playing Smash, the PS4 is the competitive console. Yeah. Like the tournament-ready console, more so than, unless you're playing like shooters on PC or Smash Bros.
I'm pretty sure never mind. I know that Call of Duty used to play on PS4. Like their tournaments, the competitive tournaments, which surprised me, but now that they've integrated PC like pretty heavily, I'm not going to say that that's the case.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of want to jump back to your pick for the Hunter from Bloodborne, because I fucking love that. Like I'm trying to go back down my exclusives backlog, and I've been playing Bloodborne a little bit, and I'm still stuck on the Central Yharnam, the first level. But just the idea of having the switch weapons, like just the starting, like there's a sword that you'll use as a sword, and then you'll sheath it into like a hammer, and then you'll slam it down as a hammer. So I just like the flow of the switching weapons. I feel like that would be really good for a platform fighter.
Yeah, and if we're going with the assumption that this is going to be like Smash, where the characters are really representing their games and their series as a whole, it would be cool to have someone like the Hunter who can maybe be a little more of a high skill character, and kind of represent how pinpoint the timing is in Souls-like games and or Souls. I guess Soulsborne. Yeah, Soulsborne games.
Soulsborne, Shadows Die Twice.
Shadows Die Twice games. Strand type games.
It's a Strand type game.
Are we including
bullshit, Sam Porter Bridges?
Are we including fucking oh my god,
Norman Reedus
on his name. Norman Reedus as a playable character.
Yeah, Sam Porter Bridges as a playable character.
Sam Porter Bridges. Okay.
Yeah.
Sam Porter.
To be honest,
Bridges.
I don't know exactly how his gameplay would play because I haven't got that far in Metal. Like the last unlock I got was blood grenades. So you could have a mechanic where like he can throw these really powerful grenades, but he'll, hurt himself every time he does it. Kind of like a Pichu type thing. Maybe you have to like not roll a bunch so that the BB wouldn't start. Actually, now that I think about it, I could bullshit with my like 7 hours of gameplay in Death Stranding. I can bullshit a moveset because I know he gets guns eventually.
While we're on this topic, I think it's funny because Nintendo, it's a lot easier for a lot of their franchises to put characters into a game like this, where, like I said earlier, there's a lot of just regular ass people in Sony games. So and obviously Nathan Drake goes on the list, and they found a way to include him in the first game. But honestly, fuck it, let's put Ellie in there. Like, let's make the even more gritty, realistic.
Oh my god, Ellie with oh my god, yes.
Yeah, like Ellie the craziness of putting like the survival horror character who like
almost got eaten.
Oh yeah,
by a human, not a zombie, by a human.
Like fuck it, I want to see Ellie fight a monster hunter. Like and win.
So initially I thought because I was thinking about like obviously The Last of Us has to have some kind of representation. Like since the first game had you play as Joel with Ellie kind of as your like support basically. Initially I was like, oh, that'd be great to have like literally it's Joel and Ellie. You pick Joel and Ellie and then you can either switch between Joel or Ellie for like a quicker whatever. But then I thought, why would I do that when one, you're going to be playing as like full grown Ellie next game, which is it looks like it's going to be fucking awesome. I cannot wait. But we have the new God of War. New Kratos and Atreus as the like buddy combo characters.
Yeah, would you put them as a single character?
They're a single character you're controlling because in the game, Atreus has like I think the triangle button. Like just the triangle button is the Atreus button. You either push it to do a quick arrow or you hold it to do the super arrow or whatever. It might be the square button now that I think about it. But whatever. Just as you're playing. So to me the Kratos gameplay style would be primary. You're using your Leviathan axe. You can use it as a projectile. You can bring it back. You can, and like I think you need the dedicated button for throw and return. Like I don't think just a throw and then throwing it back would be, because like I don't know. I feel like that's part of why that axe feels so good. Like being able to recall it, damage enemies as it comes back, but then have the dedicate like whatever the button is on like in the game, map it to the exact same button on the DualShock. Like just. If it is square, then the square button in PlayStation All-Stars for Kratos shoots arrows as Atreus. And if you like hit it between certain combos, he'll jump out, hit people with his bow, and then you'll go back to Kratos. You'll have the style switching with the Blades of Chaos. You could even have something along the lines of like, because Atreus also switched the different types of arrows. So you can have that. But like, for the most part, Atreus is going to be controlled with one button and then maybe like a directional pad to switch the arrow types. And then Kratos will just be axe, switch between axe and blades Kratos. And I really hope they do this because I won't play that.
And I think if they include that, I think you have a lot of potential just obviously off of some characters that were in the first game and just Sony icons in general to do a lot of these like pairing teams where there's like almost a support character that's defaulted. Obviously, there's Ratchet and Clank and Jak and Daxter and even Sly Cooper and his gang. You know, if I had my way, I would probably let all three of the main core trio in that game be playable characters on their own. But as they did it in the first PlayStation All-Stars, they came in as support on the special moves. So I think you could, you know, go that far. Or even the most recent Sly Cooper game on PS3 was where you go back in time and you have all of his like ancestors from all around history and throughout the world come in, and they each have their own version of, you know, the Cooper cane and stuff like that.
Like
so
Mega Man X's or Mega Man's Smash.
Yeah, exactly. I think you could include all them, or at least take moves that are inspired by each of them, which is pretty much how it works in the game, because as you unlock pages of like the family like skill book, you get more abilities that are directly referenced by other so ancestors.
It's like learning your lineage and finding your roots and shit like that. That's dope.
Exactly.
Do you think they're going to bring Sly Cooper back for PS5?
There was some talk of it, but the thing is, Sucker Punch, like, you know, Naughty Dog and whatnot, and Insomniac, although less so because they did go back to Ratchet and Clank. But Sucker Punch really did move on to Infamous, and then now with Ghost of Tsushima. And if that game's a success, you know, if anything, it'll be a situation where they get another developer to work on it. And there was talk that the company that did do Sly Cooper Thieves in Time on PS3 would be willing to do a Sly 5. I did see that not too long ago, so I would be all for it. Frankly, I want all three of these classic PS2 platformer franchises to come back
remastered.
And if having a revival via PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale 2 is the way to go, then I would say absolutely that's the way it should be. And while we're on that subject, I'm also just going to throw both Crash and Spyro in, because obviously everyone wants them in Smash, but, you know, let's be honest, they're Sony characters first, and it would be more thematically fitting, I think, to have them in.
What if we did not get Crash or Spyro in Smash because Sony's like, we're making All-Stars Battle Royale 2, like not knowing when or having a date, but just like, this will be, like, this is going to happen. We don't want any kind of fuckery.
I'm cool with that. I would like to think that there's a chance that we could have characters in both, because, you know, Battle Royale or PlayStation All-Stars 1 had Raiden from Metal Gear almost clearly because they couldn't use Snake because he was already in Smash. I want to just, you know, hope that we could just have Snake in both.
I mean, honestly,
maybe Raiden too.
They could try to work around it and say that Venom Snake from Phantom Pain, like, you can be that version of Snake, and he's got the robot detachable arm. As I say that out loud, I'm adding him to the list.
What is that, Venom Snake?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I would like to think that there could be some crossover. Like, I mean, even Persona is much more of a Sony series than it is a Nintendo one. So, I mean, why not put Joker in both? Or maybe a character from a previous Persona game. But I want to go back because the topic, we left the topic pretty quickly. But if there is a Overwatch character in this, and I've thought a lot about this for Smash Bros. Obviously, the default choice is Tracer. She is the poster girl for Overwatch. I really think that she could be interesting, especially with her recall. That said, I'm pushing it for Winston, because I think he is the first character you see when you enter the game.
Yep.
He is also
the first hero you see in the Overwatch cinematic. Exactly.
I think he kind of better... Personally, I think he better represents what Overwatch is as a game.
I agree.
And frankly, I like his personality more. I like him as a character more. Just in general, I play him more personally.
Yeah, same.
So I think... And the fact that he is calling on Overwatch at the beginning of the game would be a great inspiration for him calling on other characters, other heroes, to join him in some of his special moves.
His super would definitely be called Recall, because that's what the original cinematic and like his whole not the original cinematic, but the
original trailer.
No, the original trailer was the
okay, well,
kids in the
what is Recall?
Recall is the one where it's the beginning. It's the beginning of yeah.
So I think that'd be great. That said, so I'm gonna write down Winston.
I thought you were gonna say Doomfist.
I think Doomfist fits in a gameplay wise, because I just think he, you know, being a close melee character, you know, he would work for a fighting game pretty easily. But that's just a personal choice. I think, he's not like at the top of the list in terms of being like the most well-known or most highly played Overwatch characters. So it would be a weird choice, it'd be like picking Blanca instead of Ryu from Street Fighter or something.
I mean, I think
there's an argument to be made that it could
time.
work, but I just, personally, I would like to see Doomfist. Hell, if I could have my way, there would be multiple Overwatch characters, and it would probably be like Winston, Tracer, Doomfist, Junkrat.
What if they just added
whoever? Diva could be interesting.
All right, so hear me out. So they add Jeff Kaplan, right? They add the lead dev of Overwatch into the game, and then you make it a Pokemon trainer style character where you can rotate between like all 30 fucking characters in Overwatch. And you got to remember the order.
Rip to the development team. Yeah.
Blizzard.
Oh God. Fuck it. I can see. Why not?
Fuck it. Game Jams and
I wrote
Smash.
down Winston as sort of general placeholder for Overwatch character, but he's my choice.
Winston's
personally.
That's a good pick. Okay, so I'm surprised that neither of us have said Spidey yet.
Yeah,
I feel like he's obvious.
I feel like that warrants a bit more of a discussion because it is obvious in a sense, but it's also like, could they? Like, they would need to get Marvel's approval on this.
Yeah.
And I don't think Marvel would be opposed to it, but, it's tough to say. We don't really know how protective they are because, they did let Insomniac make Spider-Man as a PlayStation exclusive when I'm sure there was some talk about, like, well, we probably could make more money if this were multi-platform and whatnot. So I'm sure they have a good relationship with Sony, but...
The rumors that I've been hearing, or not even rumors, just the speculation that I've heard, is that they are developing something with Microsoft right now that's in the works, maybe a Wolverine game. Like, I've heard no solid talk of, like, what it actually is, but, like, it is... Okay, because I'm just like, Marvel goes to Sony to be like, hey, make us a Spider-Man game. They're like, dope. They do it. Then they go to Nintendo and they're like, hey, we want you to make an exclusive Marvel Ultimate Alliance game. Cool. And they're just not going to go to Microsoft, or they do go to Microsoft and Microsoft says no. Like, neither of those things in my head makes any sense.
No,
so, like,
that's a good point.
Like, I feel like Marvel is really trying to push, because Disney's also doing that whole reconsolidating of the Disney games, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like to me, it is like equally likely that Spider-Man is going to get pushed into this game because Marvel wants them to be wants Spider-Man to be in this game. And also Iron Man VR is coming out for PSVR later. So like, I think Marvel is really just trying to push as much as they can out there in terms of like, hey, we've had like our best Marvel game historically has been like an 8. And that was like the random Spider-Man game that was really, really good before Insomniac's, like Web of
Shadow 2?
No, Shattered Dimensions. Like one of the 360 Spider-Man games was like genuinely great, but it wasn't like masterpiece. Like it was like a solid 8, just not.
No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but yeah.
I feel like
no, I get it. There hasn't been that like big AAA success akin to something like Arkham.
Yeah, I feel like if Sony
throwing this out there because there was a lot of early access to content on the PlayStation version of the Arkham games.
Yep.
Why not just have Spider-Man and
Batman? Why the fuck not? Yeah. Honestly, that would be if Sony could pull that off, that would be the reason you would play All-Stars over Smash. Dude.
And honestly, while we're on that subject, I think one thing that could almost make this seem more likely is that NetherRealm, who is owned by Warner Brothers, who developed both the Mortal Kombat and the Injustice games, has been very open to a lot of different out-of-company, third-party guest characters. So, if they could return the favor for Sony, like, I mean, Kratos was in Mortal Kombat 9. It would be pretty cool. It'd be pretty cool for them to be like, yeah, Batman. And, if they want, they could make it the Arkham Batman, but they could also make it the Injustice Batman, regardless of the way you go.
I was going to say, they might pull some bullshit and just put in the Arkham Knight and not Batman. And be like,
I would be so mad. Fuck that noise. Fuck all of that noise.
I saw little side note. I just want your quick opinion on this. Barrett Courtney of Kinda Funny tweeted that Arkham Knight is the best Batman Arkham game, and I agree with him.
Well, that's wrong, but
all
we
right.
can move
Well,
on.
that'll be another episode.
We already talked a bit about that in the hot takes video,
Yeah.
so or episode. So go back to that. So yeah, I put Batman down, and I also want to throw on Scorpion because I feel like Nintendo won't put a Mortal Kombat character in Smash, but Sony could because clearly they're going to have a lot of other M-rated characters.
I thought you were talking about the Spider-Man villain, the Scorpion.
Nope.
Because I keep side noting. I've been watching the old Spider-Man like cartoon, like the
oh yes, the '90s one.
It holds up.
Yes.
Oh
dude,
my god,
it's very good. It's very good.
I put on the first episode like as Spider-Man PS4 was installing, and I'm on like episode 6 now. Like I've been enjoying it so much.
I love it.
Yeah, I just got to this Scorpion
fun.
episode.
I was a big fan of the X-Men '90s cartoon, which I think gets the most love from the internet.
Yeah.
But I've always favored the Spider-Man one.
I mean, in terms of theme songs, I feel like I don't know. For me, I'm just like
X-Men's hard to beat. But.
Yeah, but I feel like in terms of the internet argument of just like, how can you argue with this? Like the final shot is all them colliding. Like
yeah, no, it's pretty great.
It's so 90s, so heavily 90s.
Yeah.
Speaking of 90s, Sweet Tooth from the Twisted Metal franchise. I want Twisted Metal back because it is one of the earliest gaming memories I have. Like my grandparents randomly had a PS1 with Twisted Metal, and that was like the thing I played when I went to their house in my wee child years.
I would say because Sweet Tooth was I think one of the poster characters for the first PlayStation All-Stars. Mm-hmm. So to go to that I don't think we can necessarily assume they would bring back everyone, but I would also like to throw out Sackboy from Little Big Planet for sure. I think there's a good obviously Kratos we talked about. Who else was I'm looking at the list of the characters in the first game.
Big Daddy from BioShock. I think they might replace they're going to replace him with Booker DeWitt and like maybe Elizabeth as support.
Oh, I don't know about that. I would honestly doubt they would even put a BioShock character in there because I feel like it's not necessarily exclusive Sony game series anymore, and it's been a while since we've seen the series. Like I think with the majority of the third parties, it would be something where it would still be relevant enough now. Like I think if they're gonna dig into their past a little bit more, it would be something that has endured a bit longer. I don't know. Personally, that's just the way I see it.
So in terms of,
I don't know.
I guess in the same vein with Infamous, like I do see them going back to Infamous in terms of like a franchise, but I'm just like, do you go back to OG with Cole? His last name is
McGrath.
Cole McGrath. Yeah.
Or character from Infamous Second Son, whose name I can't remember.
Delson something done by Troy Baker.
I think he would be probably the one to go to in terms of he has more powers, so therefore more to draw from. But I would guess, and I kind of would prefer them just go with Cole because he was in more games being in the first and second game in the series. And also he is, I think, the one more people would recognize because Second Son was like, did I think all right as a launch title, but no one really remembers that. I think the legacy is much more with those first two. So I would put Cole from Infamous on first.
I mean, I genuinely am not sure. From the original game, there's also Sir Daniel Fortesque.
Oh, yes, and that Sir Daniel Fortescue, and they recently remade the original Medieval, and I think it got pretty good reviews, so I think that's definitely a shoo-in, honestly. Sir Daniel Medieval. I also think Ape Escape is one of those like classic franchises, and Spike was in the original PlayStation All-Stars. I could see him returning. And also Colonel Raddick from Killzone. I frankly don't know if they would add a new Killzone character, just go with him again, but he would be my placeholder just because... I think
they would, because I know that, I can't remember who brought it up, but someone brought up the fact that like Sony kind of has... like no, I think it was in the conversation about PlayStation All-Stars, like Sony doesn't really have a family game. Like they don't really like Knack sucked, but you know, other than that, they don't really have a family game. They don't really have a first-person shooter to connect with, like to compete with Xbox. Like the family game for Xbox would be Ori and the Blind Forest, or Ori Will of the Wisp or whatever. Whereas the PlayStation's or the Xbox's shooter is obviously Halo. Like I am not an Xbox person, but I'm always looking at Halo to be like, all right, what are you doing? so that I will know what to expect down the line.
It'll always get a certain degree of attention.
Yeah, like it's still Halo. Like it is, it's got cred. So I think that if, and I always look at Killzone Shadowfall, like whichever one the PS4 launch title.
Yeah.
I always look at it to be like, I know that you are a good game, and I know that you are like still you hold up graphically from what I understand.
Yeah.
I would love to see them go back to that aesthetic, because that aesthetic, the idea of having the little like. Also, have you like heard the game? Like just seen video or audio of it? I guess.
No.
The guns sound. I don't not
well,
just
I played
the guns.
Killzone 2. That was one of the first games I got on my PS3, and that was like just aesthetically, it's one of the more like hard hitting shooters I've ever played.
I mean, I know that they went into a different. I thought weren't the first two games like more gritty than Shadowfall? Like Shadowfall was trying to take a more
that
like
I'm not sure of.
Sleek and pretty approach.
Well, I'm cool with seeing either variation of it. Is there any indication they're going to continue that series though?
No, but I think they do need a like an FPS, because those are still some of the more popular franchises.
And as big as like Call of Duty is, Call of Military Man, like as far as like we talked about having some generic like player characters type people in it, but that's a little, I think
that would literally just be
too far. Yeah.
like hey, your cousin in the Marines is in fucking Smash now. Like that's.
That said, I could totally see a generic Fortnite character.
Jonesy. I mean, they have like, I know that Jonesy has been in like talks about being in Smash, but I also don't care at all. Like
Jonesy?
if the main white guy.
Oh, okay.
Then
I wrote that down because I could easily see Sony doing it.
Yeah.
Frankly, more so than I could see Nintendo. I mean, because that's the thing. I'm not expecting there to be a Sakurai for PlayStation All Stars, so I think it will be more,
that's a good point.
Quote unquote, by like corporate marketing based decisions. Not that Nintendo hasn't made those for Smash Bros, but I think it's less likely it's going to be like Sakurai being like, I really like SNK, so here's Terry.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Even if he's not necessarily like the guy you'd think to sell a bunch of DLC packages with, but
so I'm surprised that I hadn't brought this up yet, especially as I'm going through the game again. Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh yeah,
because if Horizon Zero Dawn is not like a launch window title, I'm gonna be fucking shocked. And I know that they're also working on multiplayer for that game. Like they're gonna have like a whole separate development team trying to build multiplayer for that in 2021. Like I could very much see Aloy being a part of the main cast, but also
definitely.
I assume if you're doing online multiplayer, it's either gonna be oh my god! It might be Monster Hunter. It might be first party Monster Hunter. Now that I think about it, because I'm trying to think of Horizon Zero Dawn's multiplayer. I'm trying to think of what the fuck it would be, because I'm like, it could just be like in my head from The Last of Us, which I think they said that they were dropping multiplayer from The Last of Us, which is upsetting. But I'm also like, the multiplayer in The Last of Us was very good. It was very good. It was very communication heavy. It was like slow and tactical. I enjoyed it a lot. With Horizon Zero Dawn, I was thinking, it might be something similar. But now I'm just like, no, that doesn't make sense. One, to Aloy's character. Like, yeah, she killed people, but she wasn't like a murderer. Like, she wasn't like she didn't enjoy killing. And like, this is I'm sorry, super sidetracked. Should have fleshed this out on paper, first of all. But like, now I'm thinking about it, they would definitely just have you make your own character and then go out into the giant, beautiful world of Horizon Zero Dawn. You kill robot monsters or robot dinosaurs.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, say like you want, I want special flame resistant armor. I'm gonna go kill the fire beasts or the fire dinosaur guys. Like, all right, yeah. Bold prediction for Horizon Zero Dawn 2 multiplayer. If that's what happens, then I will definitely put like I don't know. I'll be very happy.
Okay, real quick, I wanna speed through a couple.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up.
So I'm just writing them down on my list here. So we mentioned him as kind of a flop, but I
would see
still
Knack
think I could still see. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, we were on the same page.
No,
I could still see Knack.
He's still on my list.
If anything, he is like the representative of the more modern of like the most recent attempt at trying to do a mascot. So having like Crash, Ratchet, and Knack all there would be kind of cool. For better or worse. What else? I mentioned Spike, Fortnite character Aloy. I think Jin from Ghost of Tsushima is kind of a lock, especially if that game is a success, which I think it will be. Assuming that this is not a PS4 but rather a PS5 game that we're talking about here, then the game Ghost of Tsushima will be out by then, so it makes perfect sense to include him. Also, Astro from the Astrobot VR game,
Astrobot,
I think makes perfect sense to represent PSVR. And then my last two,
or what's its name from Moss? Quill from Moss, the little rat
thing. I guess
people like Moss.
I don't know enough about it, frankly, to say, but I can
know that
see
if you
it.
wave it, or she'll wave back.
Well, if they can include that, would that be interesting? If there's a character that you can only control with VR
with
in the fighting game,
that'd be terrifying.
Okay, so my last two are from Square, and one is Sora, because if Nintendo won't do it for Smash, then I want to see Sony do it. Plus, Kingdom Hearts started out as a PlayStation exclusive series. At least the main series titles up until Kingdom Hearts 3 that weren't handheld spin-offs were all PlayStation exclusives.
Is your second one going to make me very happy?
And it is going to make you very happy because, while I think Cloud would make sense, especially with the remake coming out,
but fuck him.
He is in Smash already, and I do see Sony skewing a little bit more towards modern games with Noctis from Final Fantasy 15.
Give me my emo prince, goddamn.
And again, we talked about all these opportunities for support characters, so having all the other bros come in and drive in on the car and help out would be great.
No, just make the regalia the character, and then all of them hop out.
And then my last choice is another guy we're bringing back from the first game, who obviously this series I think is a lock to be represented, especially because it's the biggest fighting game series not to be represented in Smash Bros. And that is Heihachi Mishima from Tekken, who is in the first PlayStation All-Stars, and I think makes all the sense in the world to bring back.
Tekken 7 might be a PS5 exclusive or PS4 exclusive.
I mean, even still, like it's kind of like Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts, where it's got this tradition of being introduced on the PlayStation, even if it eventually did go multi-platform. So,
okay, so now that you brought it up, Street Fighter V is a PS5 or PS4 exclusive. So maybe they would use
true.
Maybe they would use Blanca. I wouldn't be surprised.
I could see, or Chun-Li, honestly.
Chun-Li. It would definitely be Chun-Li.
Yeah. All right, I'm adding Chun-Li, and now I have to...
Street Fighter V for Switch. Never mind. Fuck me.
Oh, really?
Literally, as I typed in Street Fighter V 5 hours ago, Destructoid is talking about Street Fighter V for Switch. Oh, no. Refuted by Yoshinori Ono. So.
Okay, well, I'm still including...
Fuck 'em.
Regardless of any rumors. And now I have to write on the top of my list, because I ran out of room here. And then the last one, because I keep looking back at the list from the first game, I think Parappa, they should bring Parappa back. Because he was like a fun, kind of weird throwback character, but I really feel like PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, even though it wasn't a huge success, it did rejuvenate a lot of interest in Parappa the Rapper, because that game had some heavy emphasis on that character.
I was like, who the fuck is this 2D dog dressing as though he's an urban youth?
All right, so I want to quickly go down the list I have, because I know you've been writing them down, and I want to make sure we didn't forget anyone on either of each other's lists here.
I've just been writing down the new characters.
Also, I have no idea how many this is.
Yeah, so I don't know either.
I'm going off of that. Okay,
just go for it.
So I've got Parappa from Parappa the Rapper, Chun-Li from Street Fighter, Dante from the Devil May Cry series, Guardian from Destiny, Monster Hunter from Monster Hunter, Hunter from Bloodborne, Sam Porter Bridges from Death Stranding, Nathan Drake from Uncharted, Ellie from The Last of Us, just 3 people with regular ass names, and then Devin. Of course Kratos and Atreus from God of War as a pair, Ratchet and Clank from Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper from the Sly series, Crash as well, Spyro, Venom Snake specifically from Metal Gear Solid, Winston from Overwatch, Spider-Man from Spider-Man, Batman from the Batman Arkham series, and nothing else. Only the Batman Arkham series. Scorpion from Mortal Kombat.
Not Spider-Man.
Not Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal, Sackboy from Little Big Planet, Cole from Infamous, Sir Daniel from Medieval, Spike from Ape Escape, Colonel Raddock from Killzone, Knack from Knack, Jonesy from Fortnite, Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn, Jin from Ghost of Tsushima, Astro from Astrobot, Sora from Kingdom Hearts, Noctis from Final Fantasy, and Heihachi from Tekken.
You said Knack. I'm
I
pretty
did
sure you
say
said Knack. Yeah, okay.
Knack is back, baby.
Knack is back.
All right, so is there anything obvious that we've missed here? I feel like we've covered a lot.
I'm gonna start my PS4 and then start crying because we forgot someone. Let me just look at what I have.
The one that I think probably would be in there, although I don't know if he's still relevant, was, do you remember Toro? He was the little like mouse rabbit guy or whatever from the first one.
Nope.
He is from a Japanese exclusive series, but I know in Japan, at least at the time of the PS3, it was seen as like the mascot of PlayStation in Japan. So it was one of those situations where it didn't really mean anything to us, but it would just make sense to put him in there. So can add Toro to the list as well. And yeah, I also had on my original list, I had Deacon St. John from Days Gone. But the only reason I would omit him, even though he, I guess technically makes as much sense as like a lot of other these exclusive characters, is the fact that Days Gone didn't do very well, and it's just another dude. It's just like even more so than Nathan Drake or Ellie, because at least they're like representing like really iconic series. But, yeah.
Generic zombie dude.